I have pressed the button. Theoretically, the streaming can begin.
Yay!
We're going. Is my encoder connected? My encoder is connected. Everything's happening now, here, in the present, as a nightmare for those of us in the past.
There's a link. Let me get.
There's that
Let's
link.
get the pit. That's the good
There's
title.
that link for you. And here's what we're doing today. I know everybody was real excited about it. Was Pitfall's over now? They saw all the Pitfall. They went to crazy lengths to see all of the Pitfall, but now they've seen it all, and now it's over. And I regret to inform you,
There is more Pitfall.
there is more Pitfall. It is never over. The pit goes even deeper.
So this is something that I found. This is
Hello, cornflakes. Welcome back to the fucking pit. There is no escape.
This is Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns for the Atari 5200. This is a port of the 2600 game, which I liked a lot. You know.
Do you want to give a little bit of background on how we got here?
Yes, I'm
How
doing that, yes.
you led us here?
So we played all the Pitfall games, or so we thought, and in doing so, I said, you know what, I might as well do a video about this. So I'm working on a Pitfall video, and as I was doing research, I realized that there are ports of several of these games. There's the Pitfall for the Sega Genesis. I believe there's also like a Super Nintendo version.
Yep.
And
for everything, we only played one version of each of the games.
One version, right? But the 2600 Pitfall game, Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns, had a port for the 5200 and the Commodore and the Atari 800, which was a computer, and the port for
an
the
8-bit home PC.
Right, and the port for that and the port for the 5200, some other guy was assigned to do it, not the designer of the game. Some other guy, his job was, okay, port this game. And while he was porting the game, he had like an extra month of time for his assignment. So he spent that month making a third Pitfall game. And apparently the marketing guys were like really upset about this, because we have all these new ports of Pitfall 2 coming out, and people are going to realize this is a different game. So they did not tell people that there was a second game in this game, but there is. And as soon as I touched this,
so he made Pitfall 3 effectively.
Yeah,
he made a Mario the Lost Levels style Pitfall 3, and then they told him, no, we won't release this.
And he said, well, the code's already done, it's all integrated, you can't take it out.
Yeah, I won't do it, and you don't know how. So they ended up releasing the 5200 port of Pitfall 2 just with his Pitfall 3 secretly inserted into the game, and the only way to access it is to beat all of Pitfall 2.
Which I'm about to do.
Yeah, which Amabel has a save here that is just when she touches Quick Claw here, she is going to become the victor. The victress?
Yep. Yeah, the victress. Have you seen how Pitfall Harry reacts when he wins the game?
I haven't seen this.
Okay, because this is the same as this in the 2600.
Okay. Is the blue thing a portal? Is he going to?
It's a portal. Yeah, I have no control at this point. He's just doing his jumps.
Yeah, he's doing his only verb. This is prior to Pitfall Harry learning how to murder, when all he could do was run and jump.
And this is all okay. And now the game has begun. This is Pitfall 3, and the first thing you'll notice is that ant. That ant is very fast. That ant is too fast. Also, so here's a normal bat. All right.
Okay,
good job, Amabel. Hang on. Nope, that was the wrong spot. Maybe back a little bit further.
Amabel, you're getting totally wrecked by this bat.
Oh, there are worse bats. Let me tell you.
I mean, that one killed you twice. It's hard to imagine.
Look at that. There's like a series of platforms down there to jump on.
Yeah, so like when I said a Lost Levels style Pitfall 3, I did mean it in a couple of different ways.
Yeah. Let's get down here. And in Pitfall 2, the original one is hard enough, right? Okay.
Yeah, we do have to take your word on this. None of us played it.
Now notice. Now there's a ladder here. I can't jump on that ladder.
Right.
I can jump down and fall down there, and then I can climb up the ladder. And that's a normal enemy from the game. And of course that bat's a normal enemy. But this bat is not. Look at this motherfucker.
Okay, that's erratic.
And I can't jump down from the ladder either. So I can only get off the ladder
at the designated
ladder getting off point. So that's pretty tricky. Do you see this frog here? He's not just jumping back and forth. He's jumping along the whole way. And so you have to jump over him. Usually in Pitfall, you have to wait until it jumps, get down the ladder, jumps again, and then get up. Not here. Not here, my friend.
So he was doing his best to fuck you up without having to develop actually like new enemies. So what if I took the things that exist and I just made them horrible?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's correct, Tyrio. We don't do anything here except stream Pitfall. You're going to just wait until phase 2. Wait until you see what we got prep for the real stream here. So this is effectively Pitfall the Lost Levels for the Atari 5200. The whole Atari situation. I don't know if people are really like familiar with the Atari consoles and the 5200. I know most of my audience is too young to have personally interacted with these consoles. But there was a time when like the Atari 2600 was not exactly first to market, but it was like the one console basically. There were always competitors, you had your Intellivisions, your ColecoVisions and whatnot, but none of them were really. It was like if Nintendo was the only game in town, which it was for a little while, but you know what I mean, like
damn it.
Atari's market share was crazy. Atari's like stranglehold over the industry was crazy. And to some extent, they managed to completely fritter it away and destroy the video game industry as a whole by themselves without really any competitors messing up their stuff. Part of what did it was the perhaps unwise hardware release schedule and regime that led to the Atari 5200 and then the Atari 7800. Atari 5200 was like the live supported console for something like 15 months or something before they were like, we're rolling out new hardware again, which obviously was not great for anybody considering the price of these things.
Oh
God. But yeah, there being a secret extra Pitfall game that you can only play specifically on the Atari 5200 version of Pitfall 2 sucks and would have sucked for Pitfall conscious consumers at the time. I don't even know how you would figure something like this out. Like if you were a kid then, it's just you'd hear that shit on the playground and be like, no, in my version of Pitfall 2, there's a whole extra game. If you just beat the nightmare that is, it's not like a trivial task. Just beat Pitfall 2.
Yeah, I mean, Pitfall 2, Pitfall 2 is the first game to have checkpoints, and I think the checkpoints are not as generous as I would like. Like, the climb up, the reason why I started right next to Quick Claw is the climb up to Quick Claw is really tedious. There's like 12 repetitions of some very tight kind of dodging of pteranodons and bats. But it is doable.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing that a person can do. This I'm not so sure about. And you see there's a key there, so there's actually different items here that you have to collect. And there's a room somewhere where there is text, like a clue to tell you how to escape. So there's some different ideas here, some interesting things here. Now,
There's a part where you have to walk up to a cliff and hold down to pray for several seconds.
There's a snake charmer, and you have to climb up some snakes.
Oh,
I'm not going to get to that today.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to get to that today because holy shit. But I think as like the first time someone had made a game doing this, trying to prove himself, because he didn't want to just be someone who ported a game. He wanted to make his own thing.
Right.
I think that's neat. I think as far as I know, the guy, and I looked up his name previously, he basically did not stay in the video game industry for very long. You know, of course, he's doing this in like 1984.
Mm-hmm.
So this is...
There's a lesson here about volunteering your labor.
Yeah. He apparently worked like 11-hour days. Can I get... Okay. Now, can I... Nope. Can't get over it. Can't get over that frog. Can't even get to another checkpoint. I'm just going right to the first checkpoint. The checkpoints here are miserable.
Is the story of how you found out about this part of your upcoming Pitfall video?
I mean, I just looked briefly at ports, and then I found out there's a second quest. I'm going to mention it briefly in the video, but the thing is, you know, I'm trying to engage with these as works of art and as cultural artifacts, and I don't want to get too much, like, into... Like, I don't want people to think when I do this video it's going to be, like, a deep dive into the history of the production of these games or anything, because... First of all, I don't really care about the production of Super Pitfall for the NES. It sounds like a nightmare, right? Oh, okay. No, this doesn't work. Oh goodness. So I'm trying to strike a balance between talking about like the tech stuff and talking about the stuff I find interesting, because like the God damn it. It's really shameful that the thing that gets me reliably is the normal bat. Alright, I'm gonna try again to go over the pit. Let me see if I can get over there. Okay.
Is it
no.
Mike Lorenzen?
Yeah.
The same Mike Lorenzen who was later involved in Accolade's bypass of the Sega Genesis security system, very famously.
Okay.
Which there's a big court case about.
You know, interesting. There's a court case with because Activision was started as like by former Atari employees as let's crack the Atari and make Atari games unlicensed. And there was like a lawsuit at that point and whatnot. So it's a grand tradition. People say, "No, fuck you. I'm gonna be able to make games for your system." Yeah, I don't actually know if I'm gonna get much farther than this. Like,
okay, the game seems legitimately extremely difficult.
Yeah, like I really adore the 2600 one. You know, as we've covered, but this is a misery. And here's the thing: I would love to jump over there, but I can't. Like, I figure out how to jump over there, and that's kind of a fun puzzle, but not as fun as you would think. Not as much fun.
Which is crazy because I wouldn't think it's fun at all. It seems terrible.
Well, it's kind of like in La Mulana. We're like,
you have to
ladder. How do I get
you have to
there?
wrap around from a different location and.
Oh, this fucker. Right. Okay. Yeah,
These
I
damn
hate.
illegal bats. Yeah, that's a great and powerful cruelty there.
And a lot of these sections with those pits you jump up, the series of pits,
Yeah.
have the bat flying at you during the pit. And there's so much fight in this game, and I kind of, you know.
Well, it's for people who can beat Pitfall 2, right? It's like this is for the people for whom the other thing has become too easy.
Right. But the other thing is like real. There's a lot of charm to it. There's a video I put on Blue Sky of me getting to the end of Pitfall 2 for the 2600. And actually, you know what? I'm going to give you a link to it, and I want you to
put it up. Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that. Probably. I might be able to do that.
Actually, it's the first thing in my media tab or my video tab.
I can do that.
So,
I can get over there. Stop giving me instructions, Amabel.
I'm sorry.
Ordering me around like you're in charge of the show just because functionally you are.
But like I was able to find Rhonda pretty easily, and I was able to find Quick Claw pretty easy, but I couldn't see how to get to the ring. The third thing you have to get to beat Pitfall 2. And in this video, which I think
hold on just a second. Okay, continue talking. Sorry, the audio got out of control.
Yeah, in this video, like I was like, well, how do I get to that ring? And I realized I had to jump from a higher cliff onto a lower cliff, and like there's a little bit of me figuring it out in this little video. Like I got to the wrong one, and
yeah. So the critical element here of the a critical element of what is being taught here is that Amabel is a pro follow on Blue Sky.
That's very sweet.
Happy little victory dance. So much. The happy little victory dance is like quite long.
It is.
I was surprised by it when we saw it a moment ago, and I'm surprised by it again now. In Amabel's words, the only thing I love more than his stupid little victory dance is when he abruptly stops and the whole world goes silent and still. 10 out of 10. More games should end exactly this way. We used to be a society. I do love the trail off in the tweet. That's high class. Anyway, is it time for the stream? Is it time for phase 2?
It's time for phase 1. Yeah, that's the end of.
That's the end of phase 1. Welcome to the actual stream. The pre-stream is over now. You survived. You survived week 17 of our journey into the depths of Pitfall Harry's psychosis.
Oh, but there's so much worse.
I bet you're so glad to be done with his ass. Well, do I have some news for you, you poor gullible bastards.
Can you share me once you get it up? Can you share me the stream of what you're going to be showing so that I can be reacting in real time rather than on delay?
Yeah, maybe once I figure out what I did with it. Oh, there it is. Okay. There's so many windows open right now. Let me consolidate a little bit. Hey, Amabel, vamp while I do housework.
So anyway, I do think that like the first Pitfall is legitimately pretty good for what it is as like a primitive game, and the second Pitfall is like a really good game. Is like maybe the one good game on the Atari. The games that have followed, not so much. It's weird to me that there are basically 3 distinct games called Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns, because it's not only the 2600 and the 5200 one we just played, but there's also the Sega Genesis arcade game, which is just like Pitfall 1, not like Pitfall 2. So it's a weird thing how many Pitfall 2s there are. Can you imagine if there was a series, there was a game, right? And they had like the first game, which kind of did okay, and then the second game, which basically defined the genre, and then that company kept making that second game over and over again. With like, this one for the 5200 was the Adventurers Edition, but you could have like a Championship Edition or something.
If it went like at some point Super Turbo. And then they released it again, but this time there's four new Pitfall Harrys, and one of them has pants that say Maximum on the side. Not that we're referring to anything specific. Can you imagine? For some reason, Bruce Lee is there.
Imagine.
Was Street Fighter the first fighting game to just put Bruce Lee in the game and give him a different name? Because it became a whole thing, right? Like there was a period there where every fighting game had its Bruce Lee. And then Tekken took it further and also had a Jackie Chan. But
I don't think SNK doesn't really have a Bruce Lee, do they?
There are so many SNK characters that I'm going to assume you're wrong based on the just fucking volume. There are so many SNK characters. All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of media switching here. We're going to do something a little unusual for the stream. We're going to watch some videos a little bit, and I'm going to do my best not to blow out everybody's ears while we are doing this.
Okay.
Hey there, Totally Harmless. Thanks for stopping by. Here comes the fun. Let me feed the virtual cam to Amabel. So, there's music in Pitfall 2.
Right.
We didn't really stop and talk about that, but that's actually fairly unusual, right?
Yeah. I can give you a little bit of detail on that.
I would love it if you did that.
Okay. So, let me just... Wait, where'd I put it? Where'd I put my...
Okay, she thought she could. She was unprepared
here
in reality. So,
this is based on something that David Crane said in an Atari Age forum post, right? So, the Atari 2600 has a television interface adapter chip, or TIA, and that creates the graphics and sound effects. It has 2 audio channels, but they work on very limited frequencies. If you do anything too ambitious with it, it will crash the game because it's using all the CPU's processing power to play 2-channel audio, right? When he made Pitfall 2, he invented a new chip, the DPC. I forget what it stands for, but it is the same thing as his initials. Yeah. So I think, and it has 3 square wave pulse streams which form audible tones, and he uses this math to create a 4-bit number that mixes the 3 tones, and they have different volume levels. So 1 is for melody and the other 2 are for harmony and bass. And then so he had basically these 3 audio tracks being mixed to create the music that we have in the game, which sounds better than anything else on the Atari, right? But the CPU still wouldn't be able to read and write the audio samples without crashing. So he needed to have it just refer to the current position of the thing on his chip, and he needed to add a command to load the address and store the volume at least as often as every scan line. So he put it into, in his words, every display kernel, every gameplay subroutine, every line of setup, vertical sync, and overscan. He had to put multiple load store commands, the long calculation routines, to make sure the sample rate was kept up. If not, it would get fuzzy or introduce harmonics between the notes and the sample rate. And that is how it has that sound. He made this chip specifically to have extra graphic storage and to play this music. The music itself, though, I found out, was not something that he composed. It was something he licensed from another source, and that's what we're going to get into in just a moment.
Yes, that's what we're starting with here in Phase 2. We're going to tackle the nightmare that is Saturday Supercade, an American Saturday morning animated anthology television series produced by Ruby Spears Productions for CBS, which aired for like 18 months in the mid 80s. I believe it came off the air shortly before I was born. And it was like a 1 hour cartoon TV show where, for those of you who are not familiar with like the basic American television schema, a 1 hour TV show is approximately 45-ish minutes of actual show with roughly 15 minutes of commercial time. So the way they showed this Saturday Supercade was it was broken up into every 44-minute episode was broken up into 4 11-minute segments, loosely arranged around some of the characters from popular video games at the time, popular video games in 1983 and 84. And I say loosely based around the characters of instead of based on the video games, because as you're maybe going to see a little bit of oh boy, I don't know if I can do any better than let's just start showing it.
Yeah, let's just start showing it, baby.
All right, so this particular video is from archive.org. I have no ownership claims or anything here. This is a broadcast of the first episode, if I'm not mistaken. So you can see a little bit of what we're doing here. We're just going to start it from the beginning, and I'm going to try to keep the volume in a reasonable place.
I'm not actually hearing the volume at all on the stream, so that's...
So you can see here, all your friends are here. Pitfall Harry, Hubert. You know how you were always really curious about what Hubert's day-to-day life was like and where he went to high school? Great news. That's right, Donkey Kong Jr., everybody's favorite.
Saturday Supercade.
Now you might be asking yourself, is Donkey Kong Jr. just Scrappy-Doo? And the answer is yes. Yeah. So this is a real thing that actually happened. I don't know how to express that any clearer than than this. That's Mario. That's supposed to be Mario. Sometimes he'll climb a set of staircases, in his everyday life, and Donkey Kong will just be at the top of them to throw barrels at him, because that's the only way they could get anything remotely Donkey Kong-like into the TV show. So yeah, this is a fucking nightmare. Now this particular episode, this first episode, does not have a Pitfall sequence in it. Here's Frogger.
Favorite part of Frogger is, when he is a reporter for a newspaper.
Yes, the premise of the Frogger segments is that Frogger, whose name is Frogger, is a reporter for the Swamp Gazette, and there is a lady frog. You can tell she's a lady frog because she has hair. This is one of the. I don't want to get into a whole like weird furry anthro thing, but I hate it so much when the way characters are designed is the male anthro version of the animal just looks like the animal, and then the female one looks like the animal but with a human woman's haircut pasted on top. Where's this? She's Frogger, but with a human woman's haircut and lipstick and tits, because mammals. I just don't have it in me. Let me just say something. Let me just say something before everybody gets on my back. I slept terribly. I had a lot of very unpleasant nightmares. I was in a horrible state moments before the stream. And the revitalizing power of going live on the internet, plus the revitalizing power of a lot of Mountain Dew. They're doing a lot of work here, but I might be starting today's stream at the end of my rope, just so everybody's clear. So anyway, I'm going to let this run quietly in the background while I keep talking. Not muted, but like real quiet. Okay, so every episode of this show was 4 11-minute segments so loosely organized around the intellectual property of various arcade games. So every show in the first season had a Frogger segment and a Donkey Kong segment and a Donkey Kong Jr. segment, and those last two are separate. Those are separate cartoons with separate premises. And to be clear, Mario is in the Donkey Kong segments, but they are Donkey Kong segments because at this time, Donkey Kong was the popular character, which seems crazy now. And then the fourth segment every week would be either a Pitfall or a Q*bert. So Pitfall Harry is only in half of the first season episodes. I did manage to pull a Pitfall Harry. The show is like semi-lost media. Some portions of it have been gathered up and re-released, but the rights to the different segments belong to different cadres of people. There's a lot of weird licensing stuff going on here. So some of this stuff has not been preserved in any super meaningful way. What you're seeing right now, again, is on the Internet Archive if you want to view it in a more thorough... This thing where he gets run over and then gets pumped up is a joke they come back to repeatedly. It was in the opening.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's...
The turtle. They animated it once, and then they were like, well, we spent a lot of money on that. So
it's the one thing we know about Frogger is he gets run over by things.
Yeah, and then he gets reinflated by his friend Turtle, whose name presumably is Turtler.
Is Shell Shock? They call him Shelly.
Do you have a fortune teller and a strong
I
here, ma'am?
I like the way he reminds me a lot of Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life, and I do love a nebbishy turtle.
I can see that. Hold on, this frog lady is going to try to seduce some rich people.
Fanny Frog, Swab Gazette. Charmed, I'm sure. I'm Mrs. Van Bilva, and this is my chauffeur, Ivan. Do you, perchance, know anything about that fortune teller or strong man? Of course, I hired them. Oh, really?
Does this mean the interview's over?
What is even supposed to be happening in this television show? Anyway. So yeah, a Frogger segment here. Then we're gonna get to our man Donkey Kong. Hold on, we gotta see the opening for this as well. Each one of them has its own opening.
Don't like that. There's like a little interstitial thing where the two segments meet.
Because they're pals.
So my favorite thing about Donkey Kong in this cartoon is that he's voiced by Soupy Sales. We mentioned last week.
Yeah, so marks a 2-week Soupy Sales streak here on the stream, setting a new record. So yeah, like Mario is sort of a buffoon.
We're bound to pick up Donkey Kong's trail on the other side of this river, Mario.
Yeah. And then Mario's voiced by Peter Cullen, who, if you're familiar with Saturday morning cartoons, he was Optimus Prime in Transformers, Monterey Jack and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
This.
The deck is right this way, Colonel Culpepper, sir.
Classic Ruby Spears animation.
And I'll have that big gorilla right where...
How familiar are you with Ruby Spears?
Not that familiar.
So, Joe Ruby and someone Spears were the people that
Ken
worked for
Spears.
Hanna-Barbera. and they created Scooby-Doo for Hanna-Barbera, and then they went and formed their own cartoon studio to make even cheaper, shittier cartoons.
Such as Jabberjaw.
Wait, was Jabberjaw Ruby Spears?
Jabberjaw was them, but I believe while they were still working for Hanna-Barbera, right? Because Jabberjaw's a Hanna-Barbera character. They are responsible for Jabberjaw, though, and I do not like to ever let them forget that.
No, I mean, Jabberjaw sucks ass.
Jabberjaw is a particular kind of crime.
You know, the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like, most of them are pretty bad, right? And they were done cheaply and badly on purpose. And I think that's really kind of tragic about that, is that Joe Hanna and William Barbera, those were the Tom and Jerry guys. But they did some really quality mayhem cartoons with some like really gorgeous animation back in the MGM days, and like there's a lot of artistry there. And then they're like, well, now it's time to make television cartoons, make them as cheap and shitty as possible. I don't know, there's something there about what capitalism does to art.
So I mentioned that Mario plays the part of the buffoon in a lot of these, which is a lot, not the way that we generally think of Mario being portrayed in media these days. Cat of Nine Tails mentions in the chat, I mean, Mario is still a buffoon. He's trying to court Peach while she's clearly dating Bowser in the modern Mario media. But I think that's just that's their thing. Man, Mario and Bowser and Peach are sort of a throuple, and Mario has to sit in the cuck pipe. Oh, geez, look at the model. Look at the size of Donkey Kong's body parts relative to the size of Donkey Kong's other body parts.
I mean,
crazy.
The only time
crazy work.
The only time a Ruby Spears cartoon character is like on model is when they're not moving. So
yeah.
How would you rate this Mario in terms of animated Marios? Is this less than Super Show, better than the Chris Pratt movie?
No, this is not as good. Listen, I did see that Chris Pratt movie, the first one, not the second one, and I did not like it, but it's better than this. Even the fucking incomprehensible Take on Me sequence is better than this.
Okay, now, where do you rank the Mario? It was a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with Mario Japanese OVA thing.
yeah. There was a for people who are not familiar and think that Amabel just had a stroke. There was a released in like 1980. So I don't remember. Do you have the like Wikipedia for that?
I can try to find it.
Okay, explain yourself, because you sound crazy. And I know what you're talking about, but it's important that we find Donkey Kong before it's too late. Are we sure this is Soupy Sales?
Yes.
Because it does kind of seem like it's just a drunk guy going, wah, wah.
At your service.
Check it out. Donkey Kong's about to eat this slaveholder, though.
No, this is a different one. Where's the one I'm looking for?
Never mind. Donkey Kong is horny for human women. I forgot.
You really know how to flatter a girl.
Step into my office. We have business to discuss.
Monkey business, that is.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move forward here so that we do not risk seeing Donkey Kong get laid, because that is where this cartoon is going. Okay, wait, was I wrong? This video does have a Pitfall Harry in it.
The first episode does, yeah.
Okay, I thought you told me. All right, never mind.
I was wrong. I'm sorry.
let's enjoy this Pitfall area then. Amabel lied to me to make me lie to you.
I'm sorry, Amabel forgot.
So, okay, Amabel, be quiet for a second because we gotta. The audience has got to absorb this nightmare. All right, so y'all may have noticed if you were watching our series crawling through the history of Pitfall that there's an awful lot of lore that came out of kind of nowhere between Pitfall 1 and Pitfall 2. All of a sudden, he has a canonical named pet with magical powers, and he has a niece, and there's all this shit going on, and you may have been like, that's crazy. Like, I know they tell all the story of most old video games is mostly in the manual, not in the game itself, but that's like a crazy amount of stuff to add. Well, this is mostly where that's from, actually. The Saturday morning Supercade show added all of these elements that then became canonical to the games. And so you can see here Quick Claw and his niece, who he must rescue to win Pitfall 2.
And that little musical sting there was the theme to Pitfall 2 that they licensed.
Yeah,
that's the only bit of it that plays.
Was it just the thing that plays over the title card? Is that really true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a part of the reason that we even mentioned this is the music that they spent all that money and time to develop for Pitfall 2, the video game, to put on the cartridge, to put on the extra chip that they had to put on the cartridge, is a licensed version of this. David Crane liked it so much that they spent the money to license it, and then that is the basis for all of the music in one of the first home video games to have like a comprehensive music, right? Because it's actually quite uncommon for Atari games to have that kind of audio.
Yeah, any music, yeah.
Incredible shit. So let me, let's just watch a little bit of this, I guess.
Okay, and while we're at it, I'm going to tell you about Amada anime series, Super Mario Brothers, 3 VHS, direct-to-VHS Mario animes that were 15 minutes each. And they're based on 3 fairy tales reenacted with Mario characters, which is the kind of thing I think they did a lot in the later Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Where, okay, well, here's a time where Bowser's the Godfather or something. But so they were based on, the first one was based on the Japanese fairy tale Peach Boy, which I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah.
The second one was based on the 1-Inch Boy, where Mario gets shrunk down to 1 inch. It's basically the Japanese equivalent of Tom Thumb. And then there was Snow White. And the thing that's distinctive about the Snow White one is that, the villain in Snow White is the evil stepmother, the evil queen, right? But the villain in Mario is
Here's
Bowser.
Peach after biting into the poisonous apple and the toads, of course, who are sad about that.
But there is a Queen Bowser.
Yeah.
Is doing this.
So yeah,
you described this fever dream plot to me once, and I remember just very little of it.
In order to make this work, they had to come up with a vain Queen Bowser. I can't remember. Is there a representation of Queen Bowser on the Mario wiki? I have seen the image. No, that's a different female Koopa. There is a semi-famous in the fandom image of Queen Bowser that well predates Bowsette. I'm not talking about Bowsette, but that is from this, where it's just Bowser with makeup on. They don't seem to have included it on the Mario wiki.
That's okay. I have it for you. I'm saving it.
That's so good.
It in.
That's so good. Please, yes.
What is the title?
So yeah,
find a way to share this with everyone.
I should be able to just drop it. Here we go. The evil Queen Bowser looking into the mirror, doing the whole fairest, who was the fairest of them all shtick. A real thing that actually happened in anime series Super Mario Bros. It's a real thing. You can purchase it. Here's Mario holding a gun. Anyway, this is something I knew about. This is something that this is a madness that I passed on to Amabel.
Right.
And then let's get back to the
the favor by giving you this.
Yeah, let's get back to the madness that you shared in the other direction here.
We're enjoying a well-earned vacation in Hawaii. Quick Claw even brought his own portable cabana. It was time to relax and enjoy the sun and surf. Or so we thought.
Call for Pitfall Harry!
Right here, son.
Now, Pitfall Harry is voiced by Robert Ridgely, who's a cartoon voice actor from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But I best know as the guy who plays the Colonel in Boogie Nights.
Yep, okay, sure.
What's so urgent? A ship containing a collection of rare government coins was mysteriously sunk off the Coral Islands.
And you suspect someone is after the coins?
Yes, your old enemy, the Shark, and his merciless band of...
That's a villain from a Jabberjaw cartoon, what that looks like.
Back in circulation, eh?
And then we have a classic like Scooby-Doo Snagglepuss kind of
Yep.
Quick Claw, but with an eye patch for some. I mean, some cats just have one eye. I get it, but
Yeah.
it's a weird detail.
Why couldn't it be a minnow, a perch, a guppy?
Incredible restraint. Incredible restraint on their part to not have him end that line with a guppy even. So yeah, it's like an adventure show. He has a supervillain. He has a ring of supervillain foes, and
as far as the again, this is just alternating with Q*bert during the first season. So there are only 7 of these
supervillain foes who drive around with their own merch on. But like I think it's fascinating to note that in the game he's just going to places and stealing the treasures of the peoples who live in those places. And for the cartoon, even for the cartoon, they were like, hold on, we gotta he's gotta be right and a wrong or something. We can't just have him Indiana Jonesing around to that degree. So we're not going to watch a whole Pitfall Harry. I don't care enough to do that, and I don't think it's good, and I don't want to subject you to that. Again, this is on the Internet Archive. If you want to go to archive.org, you can see this whole thing with your own face.
None of these are good.
But we are going to fast forward a little bit and look at some of the fun animation. Look at. We're going to use our seaplane to get down to the sunken treasure because we also... Pitfall's a diving game. I don't know if you remember. Pitfall Harry does go underwater from time to time. What's up with the animation trope of the intrepid niece? So there's like a niece character who's particularly brave and has to corral other more cowardly characters into the adventure. This was like a real thing for a while, right? Inspector Gadget has one of these.
I think it started like in the 80s more than because in the 70s you're more likely to have either a son or a nephew rather than a niece.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure. It's a weird thing.
Wait, what happened? What happened to that made it do that?
I don't know.
So an annoying talking cat. I don't know why you save Quick Claw in the game. I feel like feel like maybe it would be okay to just leave him. But then after this, I did want to get to the Donkey Kong Jr. segment before we move on, because I think that this is at least as insane as anything else in here. So we're going to watch the Donkey Kong Jr. opening.
And it's a personal insult to you in a way, I think.
Okay. I'm trying not to be insulted by that.
Well, see, that is Donkey Kong Jr.'s friend, Bones. And I feel like you shouldn't name a character Bones who's not at least as cool as you.
To be fair, I did change my name to Bones after this existed already. It feels a little unfair to be like, they're fucking up. So for those of you who are not familiar with the history of Donkey Kong,
We're entering Texas. That's the biggest state in the union, you know that?
It may be big, Bones, but that won't stop me from finding a pup of Donkey Kong.
what on earth does that even mean?
Get that piece of tin out of the way! Come hang it, Junior. Come.
So some huge portion of this show is about Donkey Kong Jr. driving his motorcycle around, which is not a thing in the fucking Donkey Kong Jr. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the history of Donkey Kong, back when Donkey Kong was running the show, and he was the guy who headlined the arcade cabinets. The first Donkey Kong, of course, everybody knows. He throws barrels down at Jumpman, and Jumpman is trying to rescue Pauline from him. Donkey Kong Jr. is a game about playing as Donkey Kong's son, because the cruel Mario has captured him and is like showing him off in a cage and has a whip, and you don't see Mario do anything to him, but obviously the implication is, somewhere between torture and like cruel circus ringmaster showing off his prize. And so Donkey Kong Jr. has to go and save him in a manner much like Mario rescuing Pauline. And let me throw like a screenshot here up. The levels look okay. That's very small. The levels look approximately like, you start down here and you're crawling up, and because you're a monkey, you can climb vines and stuff, and it's, it's all kind of Donkey Kong again. But this time they made a monkey out of you. It's not a great game. I had it for the ColecoVision when I was a child. It's not great. And for some reason, Donkey Kong Jr. is intensely susceptible to fall damage. You can die. You can die from a very, very short fall in that game if you're not incredibly careful. There are no motorcycles. There's not even one motorcycle. So I do think that this represents how Frogger is a reporter level of.
She's out of oil.
I don't even want to say retconning. It's just making shit up for no reason.
I mean, the reason is if you have to spend 11 minutes writing about Frogger, what do you do? Right?
Yeah, this is like a bizarre
Cross gave you.
It's like a bizarre exercise in mainstreaming somebody's extremely weird fanfic.
Stay in sight, Jenny. We'll be ready to hit the road any minute.
Hey, look at all that
I can't help but notice, according to Wikipedia, could this possibly be right?
And we're gonna get it.
Hold on. 57, I guess it could be. A thing I just noticed is that Paul Dini is a credited writer on this show. Paul Dini, producer and writer of, the Batman the Animated Series, and
Yeah.
arguably creator of Harley Quinn, right? Between Harley Quinn is like him and Tim but they both take credit, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It is a co-equal. But apparently this was one of his earliest jobs. He began writing on He-Man and Masters of the Universe for Filmation at about the time that this show was on the air. So, weird. That's a weird thing to have discovered. Anyway, I did want to show one more video that I found related to Saturday Supercade. I had pulled specifically some Pitfall Harry because I was of the understanding that there wasn't any in this first episode. But
So sorry.
God, the animation's bad.
You're not a wildcat.
Yeah.
Right, I'm a fraidy cat. Bye.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I mean, even by the standards of Saturday morning animation, Ruby Spirits is dreadful. They're worse than Hanna-Barbera, and Hanna-Barbera was pretty bad. You know, I have fond memories of late 80s 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Most because Vincent Price was in it. But
Sure.
the animation's not great, right? But it's better than this.
Okay, so let me put this up. Okay. So here is a later episode of the Donkey Kong show that I wanted to show because this one has Stanley in it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not familiar, even more so, with the history of Donkey Kong media, after Donkey Kong Jr., and we must assume that Donkey Kong Jr. was successful in rescuing Donkey Kong, they released a sequel called Donkey Kong 3, where for some reason Donkey Kong is at the top of the screen and he's like trying to steal honey from massive mutant bees, and he's really enraging those bees. And the bees are threatening to rain havoc upon all of Earth. And you play as a dude called Stanley the Bugman, who is not himself a bug man, but is a man who exterminates bugs. And you basically just blow poison smoke up at the top of the screen until you have killed enough bees and also poisoned Donkey Kong badly enough that he stops. And it sounds like I'm fucking with you, but I swear to you I'm not. This is what Donkey Kong 3 is. Look it up. But this episode of this cartoon, which is a lot louder than the previous one, does contain Stanley the Bugman, so I wanted to show that. No. What do you mean the video? It was just playing. Everything was fine. Archive.org, you're killing me. We will reload it. Sorry, I'm impatient. I'll stop clicking around so much.
I got you a special treat for lunch. Fresh nuts and both soup.
So here's our man Stanley feeding metal to plants.
This is how I'm going to get it.
Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy.
Oh, yikes! A ball! What's a ball? Oh, wow! It's that pesky fly.
Come, Herman. I'm going to take you away from all this.
Boy, are you happy!
Say, Herman here seems to like you.
Donkey Kong.
So why don't you come along with us? You can take care of Herman, and I'll take care of you.
Is the Donkey Kong cartoon entirely about Donkey Kong getting laid?
Maybe.
Every episode that we've seen so far is just rife with, and here's how Donkey Kong got into another threesome. And I don't know that I apologize for exposing this to people on the internet.
Oh no! It's that evil gardener. He wants to hurt this poor innocent plant.
Oh, no. Donkey Kong.
And the Soupy Sales is thinking, man, I used to have like my own show. Really, what am I doing now? I'm grunting into a thing like a monkey.
That big ape is gonna feed Herman every vault in town for me. That way I get the boot and Donkey Kong gets the blame.
Excuse me, sir, but we're looking for...
My poor plant. A big ape's got him. No.
An ape stole your plant?
Did he look like this?
That's him. That's the thief.
Oh, no, Mario. We've got to do something.
I got it. You help us find Donkey Kong, and we'll help you find Herman.
Oh, you got a deal. They went that way.
How to put that plan to use? Yes, hey, Donkey Kong. It's almost Herman's lunchtime. Oh, yeah, yummy.
The Donkey Kong performance is so insane. Like you mentioned Soupy Sales here, not exactly at the height of his powers.
Right.
Feeling disappointed about having to make monkey noises into a microphone, but I don't think he ever felt that because he never bothered to make any monkey noises into a microphone. Whenever Donkey Kong needs to do something, he's either saying Donkey Kong or he's just going like, I must stop this. I cannot be responsible for showing any more of this to people. Donkey Kong goes shopping. Presumably Pauline and Stanley end up having sex with him at the end of the episode because that seems to be the direction that these all go in. The fucking, like, that representation of Mario driving around in his circus van because he is a circus ringleader, because that's the premise of Donkey Kong Jr., a career we rarely think about among Mario's many careers. It's just so horrible. It's so horrible to see him next to Stanley and see them represented. Oh, you're okay. Hold on. Let me put that up for the viewers. So Amabel, for your edification, has loaded up the Donkey Kong 3 so that you can see it in real actual life here. So if you blow smoke up Donkey Kong's ass, it pushes him up the vines, which is good. If the bugs get down to your flowers, that's bad. You don't want them to pollinate your flowers, if you know what I'm saying. But you also definitely don't want them to pollinate your Stanley. He will die. They are terrifying, huge. I mean, look at the size of these bees. If a bee that big touched me, I would certainly die. Get your flower back. Oh, no. Nope, you still can't touch them when they're on their way back up either. It's actually not a super easy game.
No, and it's not good. It's not fun. You know.
It was not well liked. So
Donkey Kong's good. I don't like
once again that other video, the second episode there I was showing you, is also on the Internet Archive, so you can engage with that stuff if you want to on your own. Archive.org. Just search Saturday Supercade. You'll find things that you'll wish you hadn't seen. You can see here as you continue on in the game's attract mode is showing us. As you continue on, there are more kinds of bugs to deal with, and I don't think Donkey Kong 3 is a bad game. I do think that it's, in terms of premise, it's a little muddled. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it is the canonical third Donkey Kong game. And you can see even by this point, Donkey Kong is beginning to take on the role of the buffoon. No heroic monkeys in this one.
Yeah, and you know, Saturday Supercade, we didn't even get to like Qbert is like a whole like high school thing, and like he hangs around with his friends.
Yeah, Qbert has a Qbert has a Letterman jacket. You'll never believe what letters on it. He does not speak entirely in slurs, as you might imagine from playing his game, where he does. So that was the way the what I described was the way it works with the first season. The 3 segments, Frogger, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. occurred in every episode, and then they alternated between Pitfall and Q*bert for the 4th slot. In the second season, which was the last season of Saturday Supercade, they switched things up a little bit. It was every episode was a Q*bert, a Donkey Kong, a kangaroo, and a space ace, which is a fascinating move to make. So for people who are not familiar with Space Ace, you might be more familiar with the game that preceded it, Dragon's Lair, which is, of course, a famous Laserdisc, like a beautiful Bluth Group cartoon that they kind of managed to put a video game under, sort of. Space Ace is another one of those, except it's science fiction instead of fantasy. So then Saturday Morning Supercade made a cartoon out of Space Ace that doesn't look anywhere near as good as the cartoon that's actually in Space Ace. And again, it does feature a similar sort of like mangling of premise, and it's one thing to not be able to find the show in Frogger. I can kind of understand that. You know, what are you going to do with 11 minutes of, and then I try to cross the road? But Space Ace has a rich narrative and characters and like stuff to do already, and they still took the exact same approach to it. Anyway, then the other segment is based on this game Kangaroo, which I guess was popular, but I'd never heard of before starting to research this. It is a Donkey Kong like, but it's Wikipedia describes it as one of the first games to be similar in style to Donkey Kong without being a direct clone. And it is a game about jumping over stuff and climbing ladders. So I don't know. Congratulations, Amabel. You're very good at Frogger.
Not anymore. This is the farthest I ever got at Frogger. I didn't know there was a second level, an alligator. It's crazy.
Anyway, those kangaroo episodes are, a lot of the stuff is very poorly maintained. A lot of it was never released ever again in any format. So, but anyway, we just thought it would be appropriate to sort of close out our trip through the memory lane of Pitfall, and this time we mean it by showing where the all that extra canon and also the music, the rockin' Pitfall music, came from. And it turns out it's this fucking weird ass cartoon from the 80s that nobody cares about enough to preserve. In a way, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But in another way, based on what we have seen of it, it's not. But in another way, it seems fine to me. So anyway, that's what I brought to the thing today. And now, like I said, I slept badly and I had a rough night. And so, Amabel, I'm going to ask you to take over the stream, but I'm going to ask you to do so in a directed fashion.
Right. So you want me to play a Genesis game?
So I've been looking at all these dudes swinging on vines and stuff, and I was thinking about like what's the coolest video game swing on a vine that I can remember. And you know where it is?
I don't.
Well, baby, it's totally out of this world. Totally harmless says in chat, too cursed to die, too cursed to live. I think that's a fair description.
I don't see one called Totally Out of This World.
No, it's not. It's just called Out of This World.
Oh my god. Okay, well you can't do that. You got to tell me the actual name of the thing. Jeez.
Well, it was part of a sentence though. I was doing a sentence. Have you ever played Out of This World, the famous Delphine software classic, Out of This World?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, but I'm doing it now.
All right, here we go. So I'm gonna have Amabel just show y'all a couple of games. Listen, we're playing a lot of old video games. This is the linkage that I have.
Okay.
Is that this game also is old.
This is published by Virgin Games, so it must be one of the games of the century.
Amabel Holland go to jail. So this game is called Out of This World. You skipped the intro.
Did I?
Yeah, now you don't know what's happening.
Okay, well, let me read that.
And so you will die. Robin notes in chat, surprising Amabel with something and immediately insisting she take charge of it. SB is truly evil. Listen, it's a fucking... Nick, as always, correct about older video games, says this is a game with 2 scenes where you die and can't progress. It's not exactly true, but it's not the wrongest thing anyone's ever said. Listen.
From the diary of Lester Knight Chaikin, I am using a period of rest to record some information. I am separated from my companion. We owe each other our lives. I know not how long I have been lost in this maze of underground corridors. I constantly encounter streams that threaten to flood these corridors. Luckily, I have found a weapon that can blast a hole in everything I find. I must be moving
that part's not
so
important.
fast.
There's a cinematic that I want you to see. Here we go. Check out
Holy shit.
the fucking... Yeah. Check out the fucking action graphics in this video game. So Delphine Software released two games for this generation of consoles, and they both have this fucking look to them. You can see how these grabbed my attention as a 9-year-old.
What was the other one called?
We'll get there.
You're
gonna get tired of this before the hour's over. Don't worry, we'll get there. So this is our man. He goes into his lab and he gets scanned, and his nose is very strange from the side.
Good evening, Professor. You're driven here in your Ferrari?
You're such a cool guy. We all love you very much. He has this intense fucking 3-dimensional DOS thing to allow him to click on a file. But oh no, it's a perfect storm of catastrophic events. The experiment begins, and also a powerful lightning bolt hits the lab, and also he's drinking a soda. And so this is how the game begins. You and your console have been transported elsewhere. It dumps you into that very unceremoniously. So I wanted to make sure you saw that. So this game ain't Dragon's Lair, but it's not all that dissimilar in some ways. Like, yeah, you got to immediately start pressing buttons, and it doesn't really tell you what to do. And so here's the deal: you have 2 buttons. Basically, you have an attack and a jump. And you have your arrow, you have your movement. There you go. Swim upward. Look at that thing. Look at that vine swing animation. Fuck yeah. Pitfall Harry could never. The tentacles are still coming up out of the thing. Slugs. Sorry, Amabel, those slugs are insanely venomous. Try not to get slightly nicked by their one tooth.
Damn.
So I will remind you. You have an attack button. You can kill these slugs before they kill you.
Okay. Was this a PC game as well? That's my attack. Okay.
Yeah.
Little soft shoe kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of came out on everything. So in North America, it's called Out of This World. In everywhere else in the world, it's called Another World. The real title of the video game is Another World, and I think there was a conflict with a television show over the title rights or something.
Yeah, there was a.
So let me give you
opera.
the hot tip here. If you crouch and then attack, he has a different kick that he does, which is better for this purpose. Cornflake says it seems like an offer foot to slug button. Yeah, that's the slug murdering kick of my childhood. Oop.
God damn it.
He got right up in your dick there. Totally harmless says very light kick coded. Yeah, for sure. Your character's not a martial artist. He's a scientist or a professional soda drinker or something. So obviously it has this look, right? The gameplay has this like cell shaded Prince of Persia rotoscoped thing going on. At the time, like nothing else looked like this. Except for arguably Prince of Persia.
Yeah, but Prince of Persia is mostly an actually good game.
If you're gonna call Prince of Persia good, but this not good,
I can get more than 2 screens on Prince of Persia.
Yeah, and you're bad at video games. So what is that? I think that what you're running into here is
All right.
what you're running into here is justice. So this game was more or less developed alone by a guy named Eric Chahi. So the story goes. I guess I don't know 1,000% for sure if this is true, but this is the tale. There is considerable rotoscoping in the animations, and he just wrote his own game engine, his own graphics pipeline. He wanted the game to be basically language free as much as possible to avoid, people from oh god, run the other way. Amabel, do not try to kick the beast. So do you want me to tell you a little bit about how to progress here, or do you want to try to?
I guess I don't.
Okay, you are going to have to do this thing where you piss off the beast and then run away from it.
Motherfucker.
If you kill the slugs, they won't be there on the way back.
I never successfully killed even one slug.
That's not true. I saw you kill a slug.
Well, I died immediately, so I forgot.
Yeah, you crouch kicked one slug, and then the other slug dropped directly into your genital triangle, and so you were not as prepared for him. See, look at that. You splatter him. See, that's easier. Oh.
Fucking A. Yeah, no, you're right. I did get tired of this very quickly.
Yeah, this game is famously, Nick was only half joking. This is a game that a lot of people have seen the opening 2 screens of. But I am going to urge you to try to push through, because the part of this game that is most interesting is I mean, I think this is interesting, but you should see what's next. And you're not that far away from making it. It's not actually a very long game at all. In some ways, it's basically an adventure game, right? Where you're looking for like pretty specific solutions to.
I hate adventure games.
I know.
I'm sorry I told you about Saturday Supercade.
Yeah, you made everybody's life worse, and now you're paying the price. There's so many of these fucking slugs. Oh, no.
Motherfucker.
I'm going to read you this paragraph from Wikipedia, the final paragraph of the introduction. Another World was innovative in its use of cinematic effects in both real-time and cutscenes, which earned the game praise among critics and commercial success. It also influenced a number of other video games and designers, inspiring titles such as Ico, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Delphine's later Flashback. I don't think it's fair to say that you inspired yourself to make the thing that you made next.
Flashback I played.
That's a weird way to put that. Yeah, so Flashback is the other thing that I wanna look at before we head out for the day, and it's very easy to tell that it's the same guy who's responsible. But the final sentence of that paragraph is, it is now considered among the best video games ever made. Amabel, where are you at on that?
No, I'm sorry.
Amabel, where are you at on the orthodoxy of community opinion on one of the best games ever made? Nope.
Jesus Christ.
Got too close. Slug dicked you. In a lot of ways, I think you have to admit that you slug dicked yourself on that one. That beast is quite angry. Yes, feel free to save state. Feel free to use all of the modern tools at your disposal here. Careful.
Oh. You fuckers.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those roof slugs.
Alright, and then Beast, okay.
I love the way the beast drops down. Already in attack position. Thrilling chase. It stumbles at the last moment, and then... Oh no. But Amabel, you know what you must do.
Yeah, I need a load state.
Well, sure. I meant after that.
So I could have just soft locked myself.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it counts as soft locking when it prevents progress 8 seconds from now. Also, it's not soft locking if you can die.
Come on. Why won't he jump?
You gotta, like, hold the button as you're approaching. Like...
I'm trying.
These games do have... It's not going to be obvious to the viewers. They do have a pretty, like, idiosyncratic control methodology. They feel weird to control. Oh, what's up now, Beast? Keep running. For real, though. And I guess get ready to jump that slug.
Damn it! It was so... No!
This is what happens. This is what happens when you don't kill all the slugs. Nick 16 characters says in chat, I think it's important to look at video games that predate the invention of fun. That's what we're doing here. We're archivists, functionally. Miserable archivists. Oh. You gotta kill the slug, baby. You just gotta.
Wait, where'd he go? Did I kill him?
He went off screen. I have no idea.
Oh, I fucking hate this.
I guess we'll find out. Be ready to jump. Just jump when you come back to that screen heading right, just in case.
That's what I did, and it was...
It was insufficient.
Trouble.
Yeah, so the people in the chat are saying you were in the right here. Oh, lasers right to the junk. Nope, guess wrong. So that's stage 1. Generally, people refer to this as the beginning of stage 2. Oh, look at that! Your captor is one of these guys, and you're in prison with another one of these guys. What you gonna do about it, Amabel?
I don't have any controls yet, so.
You think so? I'm here to tell you, if you don't figure out something to do, nothing's going to happen.
Well, I'm pressing the buttons that I have. Am I?
So you can see in the background there some forced mining is going on here. These poor. Oh, look at you! What are you doing there, Amabel?
I am apparently shaking the cage.
You're swinging in the cage. He's saying something to you. No. Do you recognize that?
Recognize it? No.
The only place you would recognize that from is our life together, because sometimes I say my Tsuruba to you.
Oh, is that what they say? Okay.
And I do that hand gesture, and you never know what I'm talking about. Now,
all right. Well,
one more piece of the puzzle that is Samhain unfolds before you.
I didn't recognize the audio. I'm sorry, because like it's a little. I would say the voices on the Sega Genesis are not their strong suit.
Well, I mean, there are some games where they're more than this. This game does not have a particularly strong. I mean, also, they are speaking an alien language. Yeah, I did that with the hand and everything. Aha.
Sorry.
It's like, hey, let's fucking go. Gotta move on. Well, your pal got annihilated because you were too slow. Kick the gun away. I don't believe in firearms.
I don't. Okay.
I find it curious that your plan was to get a gun and then run at that guy.
When I fired it, didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything to what? Apparently there was a Jaguar port of this game. Congratulations, you turned that man into a skeleton.
I couldn't get to turn around for some reason. Wait, I need the gun.
Yeah, good idea to take the gun. So, Amabel, how much do you love Another World?
Not a
To what degree is
whole
this your favorite
lot.
Sega Genesis game?
Look, a lot of Sega Genesis games are very.
Look at that, you put up some kind of energy shield, Amabel.
Figure this shit out. I can't figure this out, and I don't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more little push here, and then we can
Okay.
stop. Get to the part where he's like hacking the door console. When you turn around, instead of spamming fire, hold the shoot button down.
Okay.
Oh, look at that! Your gun has that functionality as well. You are supposed to figure out from seeing them do it that you can also do it, which only kind of makes sense because they do it off screen, so it's not necessarily clear that it's a thing their guns are doing. Let it go, let it go. See, if you hold it down a little bit, it becomes the wall, and if you hold it down more than that, it becomes like a bigger energy blast that you can use to break their wall.
Hold down a little bit to become the wall.
You'll see the gun has like a couple different levels of charge. You kind of got to put your gun on the other side of your wall. Otherwise, you just shoot into the back of it.
Yeah, I see that now. Okay.
So yeah, Another World, generated by the incredible classic Eric Chahi. I believe you have finished approximately a sixth of the game at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
It's not a very long game, but every bit of it is like this, where it's sort of like, I don't want to say you're always trial and error, but it is. So yeah, you want to charge up. Oh,
Damn it.
so whenever you'd like to jump over to Flashback, feel free.
Oh, yeah. No, that's now. That's now. Okay.
If you protect him and kill the other guy, your dude does eventually hack the door, your alien friend, and then you get to an elevator, and then there's the maze of passageways from the letter, from the diary. And it goes some places most people have never seen more than the part that you saw just now. It's all right. Since When says in chat, I'd give this game about the best game ever made out of 10.
I mean, look, I often don't really care if games are good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would like them to be good, but as far as like, you know, they're trying something different, trying something new, I like engaging with the thing to a degree to see like the ambition, to see what they're trying to do. So I absolutely understand the kind of
Take this shit out.
the technical leap forward and the kind of appeal of something like this, even if it's not for me. You know, we had some talk about this, you and I, recently, which the viewers will hear at some point in the near future. apropos the Vampire the Masquerade Let's Play series in the game. Okay, I can hit start now. That was the cutscene.
Yeah. So you wake up on the ground here next to your... Oh, you've accidentally pushed your cube off a ledge. With no memory of who you are, I believe the manual specifies. And so you can see this game's got that very Prince of Persia-y, like clear rotoscopy animation. It's got a pretty idiosyncratic control scheme. If you hold up, you can jump up just like a tiny little bit. Oh god. Caught me by surprise. If you jump while running, you'll do more of a horizontal like leap that will allow you to cross stuff like this.
What button is jump?
Up. What do you know about? You just did it. You just jumped.
Well, no, I held up. I'm holding up now, and then I hit what would be the C button.
Listen, figure it out. It's got a weird control scheme. Is my point. You gotta figure it out.
Well,
so you can execute a more horizontal jump by jumping while running, or you can just get under ledges. If you get to the end of a ledge, okay, yeah, you can do that. If you get to the edge of a ledge and then hold down, you can often sort of like scale downward. Nice way to bludgeon that thing to death with your gun. Yes, there you go. You can get up by doing stuff like that, and then in this case, you can from down here. Go back down. You can do a running jump. Nope, sorry, get on that middle level.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to the left and then you run to the right and jump, you can do a running jump that will allow you to grab the top right ledge, provided that you space it correctly.
Okay, well, I'm still trying to figure out what the jump button is, so it's...
You're doing a lot of jumping. For someone who doesn't know what the jump button is.
Right, I hit up and it will jump straight up.
Yeah.
It's not giving me... I hit up while I'm running, it doesn't do anything.
You say that, but you also said that about Another World, and it turned out to be exactly the way, right?
No, Another World has a dedicated jump button.
It's got... But the way...
All right.
But the way you jump while running... Did I mention to you that I'm at the end of my rope already? Be nice to me. You gotta give the jump some juice while you're running. You gotta hold it down for... Oh.
Okay, I need to be holding the first button and then hit plus.
Yep.
First button, which is also the run button. So
yeah.
I'm thinking I'm gonna have to run.
There you go. Okay, you executed it. You just had to do it like a couple steps earlier. Part of the reason I mentioned that the game has an idiosyncratic control method is so people looking at this are not like, what is she doing? Because it legitimately is like weird and hard to control. Once you get the hang of it, it lets you do some pretty cool, pretty precise stuff, but you really gotta get the hang of it. You could also attempt a running jump from here and just like get across that distance horizontally, although obviously that robot will attempt to murder you when you get over there, so.
Okay, well I didn't. Alright.
Conrad, you can help us out a little bit here, bro.
Who's Conrad?
I believe Conrad is the name of the character.
Okay.
Conrad B. Hart. hold up as like even as the screen transition is happening.
Yeah, I was trying.
I know you can do this because I have personally done it. There you go. See, you really cover some distance.
I need to not be pressing right while running when I hit the up to jump. Because
Oh,
the
yeah,
right
you start running. You don't have to keep holding right while you're running. He will keep running as long as you hold down the run button. All right. Way to trade dick shots with that guy. You have proven that you are the one with the stamina. So yeah, you can roll around on the ground like a crazy person. I don't think you're going to be able to get under that. I think you have to fix this device in order for it to work.
That doesn't do it. Okay.
Your universal repair tool, sadly, not the thing for the time. Oh. Yep, you gotta make the jump. You probably have to make the jump on the first frame that you can make the jump on this one because it's a pretty narrow space. So yeah, get yourself running and immediately start holding up. Oh, man, maybe you can't even.
I think I'm getting a vertical on that.
I know it doesn't look like it. You can try just climbing up to the left. Maybe if you go really fast. Okay, go really fast. Turns out to be the strat. Nice. Well done. And a dramatic roll out of the explosion.
All right. Well, I don't know.
You have not been to all the places you can go.
Yeah.
Cornflakes helpfully says beep, beep, beep.
There you go.
What are you doing? Oh, you're doing this, okay. Did you forget the opening cinematic so soon?
Not the thing off my... Yeah, I don't know where it is, so...
Well, where would it be?
Maybe down here? Is this a pit? Am I dying? No, okay.
So there's a button that hand icon represents, yeah.
Okay, if I'm doing down and the... Okay, and the button, it will...
Okay. So that thing where you just like walked off the ledge, I would not do that. If you can climb down safely, holding down at that ledge.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what that is because I hit down and then
Face the ledge.
Okay.
Hold down. And then that should be it. It should just be face the ledge and hold down.
It's not.
Well, it was when I played it. You're doing it wrong.
When did you play it last?
1994. Just a guess.
Can you find?
There's there's totally a way to climb down. I don't know what it is. It's got to be some button. I can find the manual, I'm sure.
You can give me the complete tech.
Here we go. Flashback: The Quest for Identity with a Rob Liefeld-ass cover design. That's right. There's a Marvel branded comic at the beginning of this instruction manual. It's like a 15-page Marvel comic.
It's crazy. Are you showing that to the viewers?
Nope. That's just for me. I'm enjoying that. I will show it. Hold on. I'm trying to find your. I'm trying to help you.
I appreciate it.
Save the game regularly. Okay, here we go. You can tap down while running to roll, like do a run into the somersault.
Okay.
Okay, going down one floor. Stand at the edge, hold down the A button, then down on the D-pad.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That's so... That's so fidgety.
Well, A is the action button, right? That's why that's why they call it A. It's for action. Do you want to hear the game's hints for level 1, Planet Titan?
Sure.
Conrad awakens on the artificial jungle of the planet Titan. He has no memory of past events nor the circumstances which brought him to this place. However, he finds a holocube which contains information to help him piece together his memory. Conrad must fight hostile mutants, watchdog robots, and avoid deadly traps to find his way out of the jungle. Hint: pressure pads are activated by running or walking across them, or by the weight of an object. So your holocube was sitting on a thing that was being activated by its weight.
Okay. Now turn around, you dummy.
So yeah, this is tricky because, like, if things get too close to you, they're hard to deal with. You saw when you dealt with that first robot that if you use the attack button while you have your gun out, while you're standing and something is very close to you, you can melee strike it with the gun, but it's not like a separate button or anything. He just kind of decides when he's going to do it, and you are vulnerable to his decision making. You definitely have to be standing though. All right, you're doing it.
Stop rolling.
I think if you keep thwacking him, he will go down. But obviously, also if you can get to a point where you can actually shoot him, that would be helpful. There you go. He dropped a cartridge. Cool. Maybe it's a copy of Another World that you can play. So yeah, crouch and then hit the action button. Nice. You got a thing that's incomprehensible. You have a way to look through your inventory. That thing that's up in the top right, I believe, is your like currently selected item. Dead.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, to open/close the inventory, press the start button. At the start of the game, there are several objects listed. As you take items while progressing, they will be added to this menu.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's your shield is, I guess, your, like, the amount of damage you can still take.
This is 1.
Because you've been prodded a couple of times at this point. So yeah, broadly, A is the action button. B is the use button. Use an object selected from your inventory. Also places an object down when pressed with the down button. And the C button is your pull my gun button. C for cannon. So what do you think about this game?
I don't like it.
Is it one of the greatest games of all time?
It's better than the last one was.
And that one's one of the greatest games of all time, so this one must be. The game was a commercial and critical success and was listed in the Guinness Book of the Guinness World Records, date not given, as the best-selling French game of all time for a while. I assume some Rayman game has to have surpassed it since, right?
Yeah, or Clear Obscura, maybe.
Was Clair Obscur made in France? I know like it's a very French game, but I actually don't know like
I thought so. I might be wrong.
the development studio and stuff. It might
Yeah,
not
they're former
count.
Ubisoft people.
It might not count for some silly reason, or you know how it is when 10,000 people work on a video game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the initial story is given in this comic book at the beginning of the thing, and it's definitely got a noticeable style, a recognizable style.
Fuck you.
Is the artist credited? Kind of doesn't look like it, which is not cool. Oh, here we go. Okay, the credits for the thing are in the middle of the first page. Written by Jim Moore, pencils by Mike Harrison. I don't know if either of those names mean anything to you.
No, not particularly.
You are, after all, the comics genius in the relationship. Okay, nice.
No. That's not what I meant to do, though. So it's not so nice.
No, never mind. Not nice. No credit for you. So if you can execute the hold, what is it? Hold A and press up. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then from here you can drop down one and then turn around to do the same thing. A cartridge lock. Well, if only. Put Your cartridge has 0 cartridge points. Well, how are we going to get some cartridge in that cartridge? So this game scored very well with critics, generally. Is widely held to be an excellent game. More modern. Oh, check this out. We figured out how to open up the HoloCube.
It's me! Hi, Conrad!
Oh, boy.
You must be wondering if I recorded this message without remembering it. Good question. But it would take too long to explain the time is short. I can't.
You are cracking yourself up so much with this honestly pretty good Mickey Mouse impression. You got to get back to New Washington and contact your old friend Ian. Yeah, that's pretty good Mickey Mouse noise. All right, so fucking action mode this dude. Roll, get your gun out. Get low to the ground. Roll down there and blast his ass.
But the action button is the fire button.
Sure, but now you can hit right and roll.
I see.
No, blast his ass. Oh, okay, that didn't work. Well, never mind me. That seems not to be a real plan. If only you had one of those cool Another World alien blasters, you could like set up a shield effect or something.
Yeah, holding it does not do anything.
So yeah, modern evaluations of the game are less kind, but at the time it came out, as you get a lot of four out of 5s, and Famitsu gave it an 8 out of 10 across the board, except for the person who gave it a 9. It was well reviewed. People liked it a lot. I think that it has style.
It does have style, yeah. I'm gonna play something else before we, because we're
yeah, it's basically time. It's not. It's not. It's a little bit of a short stream, but again, I'll
play one more thing while we're figuring stuff out. Okay.
Okay. I feel like garbage, so we're gonna cut it short a little bit today. Before you get to do that, I'm gonna show this to them. Check it out. So this is the front cover of the Flashback manual. It looks very intense. This is supposed to be the guy. Look at his fucking cheekbones. Look at his whole chiseled demeanor. Conrad B. Hart, agent of the Galaxia Bureau of Investigation, barely has time to think, so much depends on his instincts. And he's an action man of action time. Oh no, Cindy got zapped. Cindy's out, that leaves only me, but it turns out it's a danger room kind of thing. People call him Flash. That's why the game's called Flashback, Amabel. Just wish my scores were as good as Ian's in academics. It takes more than good reflexes to be a GBI agent. You mean like having a great memory for details? Because aren't you supposed to be getting laid right now? Drat! And so he runs off, and this is the whole situation. So I remember that part of the plot of this game. Look at this face. Look how serious he is. She's very sad.
Yeah.
The group. She's with a group, and they're going to cause trouble at the rally tonight. And he's like, "Oh, what kind of trouble?" Because unfortunately, your character in this game is a cop. He's a cop at heart. Yeah, a considerable portion of this game's plot hinges around these like magic glasses that somebody just invented. And when you look through the glasses, they're supposed to help you discover like things in an environment that don't belong in the environment by measuring their molecular density based on the idea that all of the things that are supposed to be in a room together have the same molecular I don't remember it very well. It sounded like stupid bullshit when I was a kid, but then they end up revealing that it ends up being they live glasses. And it turns out, some of these people aren't human. The glasses have revealed accidentally that some of the people in our society are not humans, and that's the plot of the game. Is you discover that, and then somebody brains you about it, and they try to dump you off on a planet, and you gotta get your shit back. And I don't know. I think it's like an okay sci-fi plot. I think the game has a lot of style, and there's some really cool stuff in it, but it does feel like an actual nightmare to play it.
Yeah.
This is Frogger?
For the Sega Genesis.
Frogger for the Sega Genesis. Okay, why did you want to play Frogger for the Sega Genesis?
I was just looking for another Genesis game. And I played Frogger for the Atari earlier, so I want to see...
I mean, I guess that's an upgrade.
It lets me move during the music, which the other one couldn't, because, again, the Atari can't handle too many things happening at once.
Yeah, music plus gameplay. Functionally impossible without an extra memory processor. Robin says in chat regarding the comic, you could crack an egg on that guy's lips. And that's a real John Lennon-ass thing to say. Well, now you've done it, Amabel. Oh, shit.
That was wrong.
Never mind, your mutant offspring will never come to be. Amabel, it's been a weird several weeks here on the stream.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But here's my promise to you. Next time, no Pitfall, no Frogger. We're going to be playing real video games for grown-ups in a year that starts with a 2.
Okay, you got something in mind?
No, but I just think that we owe them. That's actually not even true. If we do the thing that I have planned, it will not. It's the idea that I had is also a game that came out in 1981. So what's your plan here? Oh, you're just
I didn't.
just
I
gonna
thought
die.
In the other game, it did. In the Atari game, it wrapped. I thought.
I don't think so. I think that's kind of the whole point.
Well, let's
go back to the cave.
phase 3.
Yeah, let's go back to the cave. Let's go to phase 3. This whole stream's been a nightmare. Amabel,
I had fun. Chat, did you have fun with this stream?
We know things that no one was meant to know. Starcade was supposed to die quietly, and now we've resurrected it and spread the...
Supercade. Starcade's something else.
Starcade is something else. I keep doing that. The Supercade was meant to die quietly, and now we've spread the memetic hazard. And soon it's going to be like TR-49 in here. Hey, everybody. Thanks for surviving the stream with us. I know my energy's been a little bit fucked up today. Probably a little bit low. Probably a little bit hostile. But we're here, and we're having that time together. And isn't that something?
Yeah.
I gotta lay down. I feel terrible.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something that I love.
Before we do that, this is the part of the stream where we just we take a second to sort of talk about and share a thing that we have enjoyed, a thing that we've had positive interactions with in the past week, in the hopes of sharing that with other people and letting them get some kind of positivity out of it too. Share the things you love so other people can discover a thing they might love as well. And it sounds like Amabel's fucking raring to go. No time for my bullshit. So Amabel, what's up? What do you got?
What I have is an op-ed that I read, which I don't usually recommend op-eds.
Yep, that's an unusual element for the stream here.
But this appeared in The Onion, and it was an op-ed called
To be clear,
Work
this
Very
is
Hard.
To be clear, this is a print-only Onion article. If you are a fan of The Onion, it is worth knowing that some portion of the stuff only appears in the print edition. If you're not getting the print edition delivered, you're not getting the whole Onion.
But someone shared this online, and it went
Yes.
a little viral. I saw it before it got as viral, I will say.
Okay.
So it's called I Work Very Hard, and I Would Like to Try Cake, and it's by a horse. And I think if you just search Blue Sky or something, you'll come across the title, I Work Very Hard, and I Would Like to Try a Cake. It's a really beautiful piece of writing. It's very funny. The cadence are the kind of sentences that you say on like a daily basis. I feel like it's very you coded. So I would recommend it. I think you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it's on the screen right now.
Okay.
If you go to Amabel's Blue Sky profile, again, Amabel, profile on Blue Sky. If you go to Amabel's Blue Sky profile, it is there and available. Hopefully you can read this if you have it at maximum resolution. It's good. It's good. It is a delight. And I agree that it does read a little bit like a piece of my writing.
What did you?
Cat of Ninetails says SB exposed as a horse, scandalous. Tyrio asks, how'd you feel about the end of Paradise Season 2? Paradise Season 2 took it did some weird stuff. Amabel, you're gonna think I mean this in an ironic way, and I swear to you that I don't. No, I mean I kind of do. So there's a moment in Season 2 where the dramatic weight of everything hinges on a sort of like a slow, badass, mournful movie cover of The Final Countdown by Europe.
All right.
It's when you realize what's beginning to play. The show's insane. I think I have so much respect for how out of it they are, and just like what a bunch of people making crazy decisions. I love it.
What else did you love?
I appreciate people saying things about my comma usage. I'm very careful. What else did I love? Nick 16 character says, I found out enough time has passed for me to play Opus Magnum again. I have only one friend who played it, and I'm clowning all his scores. Get him. I have a couple of things. So first thing that I wanted to show off here is this. This is a little bit weird. And I'm sure putting it on screen would get us demonetized if we were monetizable at all, given what else we've shown on the screen. So this is called MTV Rewind. You can find it at wantmymtv.vercel.app. And it lets you pick like an era of MTV, and just like it's just a bunch of like different streams of versions of MTV. So you can like watch 80s MTV or 90s MTV, or there's a bunch of. I'm not actually going to play any of them because I'm sure the rage of the copyright system will be upon us. But you can see all these different selectable channels and stuff. This thing is wild. This is just something somebody put together. You ever wanted to watch like TRL, just a straight archive of TRL? Apparently, it's up there. It's available. This person also made a sort of a cartoon version of this that has 12 networks that are just like streaming cartoons from YouTube. You want to watch, like, just put on some He-Man and let it run. They got Underdog, they got Inspector Gadget, there's an Animaniacs. Just good stuff on the internet from the makers of MTV Rewind and cartoon. It's just, sometimes you can use the internet to calm your anxiety. I'm not generally a person who's like, woo, nostalgia, because I do think that, like, the comforting power of nostalgia is often outweighed. Please don't get mad at me, but like, the comforting power of nostalgia is often outweighed by the sort of the poison that it can let seep into your brain. And I try not to just be like, yeah, that thing was like, I remember that thing, and the power of me remembering it is good. But, you know, I think this is harmless. Yeah, cartoons as you remember them. MTV as you remember it. If you wanted to have knowledge, I know the young people probably in the audience have never known a time when MTV, which stands for Music Television, played music stuff. But it used to do that all the time, and you could see that for yourself. I think these are neat. The other thing that I want to talk up, that I wanted to recommend, that I think is super rad, even radder than MTV Rewind, if you can believe it, is a physical object that is hard to show on the stream. But I physically purchased a copy of a book, and I think it's very good. It is called, I'm trying to pull up some internet images here. It is called Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown. Show me just an image here. Well, I mean, this is not, listen, it's a Mike Mignola thing. Here's the thing about it is, it's Mike Mignola. It's the Hellboy man is just doing some stuff. There's another Lands Unknown book coming out soon, is my understanding, and that's why people started talking about this one again. And I realized I had never gotten around to actually checking it out. But it is just sort of like a collection of short stories in that very Mike Mignola form, and you can see here, if you are familiar with his work at all, obviously this is what's happening. Like, if you're not familiar, this is the guy who created Hellboy, which I would strongly recommend to anyone. Just read you a bunch of Hellboy. But this is a new thing that he did, and it's fucking rad. It's extremely good, and it's very much his style. And if you like his writing, you're gonna like this a lot. It's very, very good. The new one, I don't remember the title of it, but there's another collection of Lands Unknown stories coming out soon. Comic books are good, Amabel.
Yeah.
I know this is a controversial opinion in this room. I know you're always so down on what you call the lower arts.
Right.
But I'm here to defend the good name of comic books. Let me tell you, Amabel, you fucking square with your monocle in. Let me tell you about a little man named Chris Claremont, okay?
Fuck you. I love you, but fuck you, baby.
At least, I would say up to as many times as 4 times a week. We'll be in the middle of a conversation, and Amabel will be like, hey, this reminds me of a thing from the Claremont X-Men run. The phrase "Siege Perilous" is spoken in our house weekly. So I'm just pulling.
You've said it now more than I have, making fun of me.
Yes, that's certainly true. Nick says in chat, I know a guy who got the Hellboy board game. It looks neat. That could be cool. According to Robin, in response to the rewind things, says, yeah, why can't we just go back to the amount of racism we had when I was 12 to 14? I mean, listen, the amount of racism that was allowed in media when I was 12 to 14, unironically, is probably less than is allowed now, right? Just like on the news, you get way more racism these days. I see BVDDH in chat says playing Xenonauts 2. Xenonauts 2 went 1.0. It finally happened. And I'm interested in that, and we'll see about getting to that. I'm trying. But yeah, I think that's what I got to share. Mike Mignola does good work, and I think that you should patronize his work. Not like, gee, thanks, help. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. Amabel, do the outro.
So, all right, everyone, thank you for being part of our stream. It's always lovely to hang out with you folks and do a show, Samhain and I together, and it's something I look forward to every week. Now, I want you all to go out there, find something that you love. Find something to bring back and share with us. If you can't find something, make something and bring it back and share it with us. And we'll see you next week.